Everything about athletic sports, how it came about, and what are its whats and wherefores. Athletics is a group of sporting events that involves competitive running, jumping, throwing, and walking. The most common types of athletics competitions are track and field, road running, cross-country running, and race walking. The rules and format of the modern events in athletics were defined in Western Europe and North America in the 19th and early 20th centuries and were then spread to other parts of the world. The foremost international athletics meeting is the World Athletics Championships, which incorporates track and field, marathon running, and race walking.
Other top-level competitions in athletics include the World Athletics Cross Country Championships and the World Half Marathon Championships. The word athletics is derived from the ancient Greek athletes or kumbanan in public games. From athlon to prize or athlos to competition. Initially, the term described athletic contest in general, that is, sporting competition based primarily on human physical feats. In the 19th century, the term athletics acquired a more narrow definition in Europe and came to describe sports involving competitive running, walking, jumping, and throwing. Track and field are preferred and are used in the United States and Canada to refer to athletic events including race walking and marathon running, although cross-country running is typically considered a separate sport.
Asian athletic contests in running, walking, jumping, and throwing are among the oldest of all sports and their roots are prehistoric. Athletics events were depicted in the ancient Egyptian tombs in Sahara, with illustrations of running at the Hampstead Festival and high jumping appearing in tombs from as early as 2250 BC. The Lian Games were an ancient Celtic festival in Ireland, founded circa 1800 BC, and the third three-day meeting including running and stone throwing among its sporting events. The regional and only event at the first Olympics in 776 BC was a stadium-length running event known as stadium. This later expanded to include throwing and jumping events within the Asian pentathlon. Athletics competitions also took place at other Panhellenic Games, which were founded later 500 BC. Modern era. The Cotswold Olympic Games, a sports festival which emerged in 17th century England, featured athletics in the form of sledgehammer throwing contests. Annually, from 1796 to 1798, the Olympiade de la République was held in revolutionary France and is an early forerunner to the modern Olympic Games. The Royal Military Academy at Woolwich held an organized competition in 1849, and a regular series of closed meetings open only to undergraduates was held by Exeter College, Oxford. Modern era. The Cotswold Olympic Games, a sports festival which emerged in 17th century England, featured athletics in the form of sledgehammer throwing contests. Annually, from 1796 to 1798, the Olympiade de la République was held in Modern era. The Cotswold Olympic Games, a sports festival which emerged in 17th century England, featured athletics in the form of sledgehammer throwing contests. Annually, from 1796 to 1798, the Olympiade de la République was held in revolutionary France and is an early forerunner to the modern Olympic Games. The Royal Military Academy at Woolwich held an organized competition in 1849, and a regular series of closed meetings open only to undergraduates was held by Exeter College, Oxford from 1850. The annual Wenlock Olympiad Games, first held in 1850 in Wenlock, England, incorporated athletics event in its sports programs.
The first modern-style indoor athletics meetings were recorded shortly after in the 1860s, including a meet at Ashburnham Hall in London, which featured 4 running events and a triple jump competition. The Amateur Athletic Association was established in England in 1880 as the first national body for the sports of athletics and began holding its own annual athletics competition, which is the AAA Championships. The United States also began holding an annual national competition, which is the USA Outdoor Track and Field Championships, which which is first held in 1876 by the New York Athletic Club. Athletics become codified and standardized via the English AAA and other general sports organizations in the late 19th century, such as the Amateur Athletic Union, founded in the US in 1888, and the Union of French Athletic Sports Societies, founded in France in 1889. An athletics competition was included in the first modern Olympic Games in 1896, and it has been one of the foremost competitions at a quadrennial multi-sport event ever since. Athletes use their increasing status to push for remuneration, and the IAAF responded with the IAAF Golden Event Series and the establishment of Outdoor World Championships in 1983, including track and field, race walking, and the marathon event. The International Committee of Sports for the Deaf had been formed by 1922 to govern international deaf sports, including athletics. The first organized international competitions for athletes with a physical disability began in 1952 when the first international Stoke Mandeville Games were organized for World War II veterans.
Uniforms really do play a significant role in the sports industry even back then, since it promotes team unity and keep the players motivated to perform better in the field. So, athletes must be appropriately dressed. They must be in their athletic wears. No blue jeans are allowed. Athletes may compete in their athletic shoes only. Track spikes less than 3/8 of an inch are allowed. No softball, baseball, or football cleats will be allowed. For your information, cleats are equipped in a shoe for it will bring more or provide more friction whenever a game is being played at slippery surfaces. And uniforms are very important for athletes' self-esteem. For the order of events, track events take precedence over field events. This means that if an athlete has track event and field event scheduled at the same time, they should do the track event first and then go to the field event afterwards. They should check in with the field event and let the venue director know what they're about to do.
Running events, from the firing of the starter's gun to breasting at the finishing line, an athlete is expected to adhere strictly to some basic rules, like, for example, he or she must always start behind the start line and must remain in lane throughout the race. Jumping the gun could lead to disqualification from the game. Running before the starter's gun is fired is declared as a false start and can eventually lead to disqualification if the runner falls twice. Sometimes, athletes are warned before being disqualified. If a runner tries to impede a fellow athlete's progress by blocking, shoving, or interfering to gain an unfair advantage, he or she must be disqualified from the game. A runner must always wear sneakers or athletic shoes during the game. In shorter events, such as in 800 meters, athletes should stay inside the lane. In longer events, they are allowed to move to the innermost lanes with the condition that they should not touch the other participants.
In throwing events like javelin, hammer throw, and shot put, an athlete is expected to aim farther than anybody else. Just like the jumping events, only the longest throw counts here. Javelin is the only event that allows the participant to run. The participants dart through a runway of 30 meters before pitching their javelin. In shot put, discus, and hammer throw, athletes are allowed to spin their object within a predefined circle to create momentum before lobbing. A 6 millimeters wide iron band trimmed in white encircles the area. Touching the top of the iron band or the ground outside while hurling can lead to disqualification. Also, there is a wooden stop board at the front to keep athletes from slowing out of the circle. Athletes can hit the board, but touching the top of the board may lead to disqualification. In all throwing events, the object lobbed must land within a specified area.
Now let's talk about jumping events. In jumping events, the athletes run to a runway and jump as high as possible. However, the rules vary according to the events. Most jumping events have a sand pit or a pad to enable the athlete land easily after the jump. The foot of the athlete should not touch the ground before the jump, or else it is declared a scratch and earns him 0 points. The length of the jump is measured from the line to the point where the foot touches the ground. If the athletes happen to fall back after the landing, the distance measured is to the contact point. The athletes are given 3 tries or chances, and the best try is counted. The same rules apply to vertical jump events like high jump and pole vault, except for the way the distance is measured here. A height goal marked by a bar is set by the athlete, and if cleared, they score for the specific round. Some events allow 3 chances to the athletes, while some other events allow the athletes to keep trying on higher bars until they fail.
Athletics has been the heart and soul of Summer Olympics since its birth in 1896. Modern Summer Games now consist of road running events, track and field events, and race walking events. Though cross-country running was earlier a part of the Olympics, it was dropped after the Summer Olympics in 1924. After the short race walk was incorporated in 1952 Summer Games, no new sport has been added to the athletics program. Though the early 6 editions saw the team racing events, athletic triathlon and pentathlon was later replaced by decathlon, and medley relay was replaced by even leg relays. A few standing jump competitions and throwing events, which made an experimental visit in 1908 and 1912, were removed entirely in the remaining versions.